Okay, so this is the Erster Verlust. Now I'll put an image of this up on the screen for you guys to see. And so here we've got a illustration that corresponds to this piece from the first edition. And we can see that it's a young girl who unfortunately her pet bird just passed away, and who's obviously feeling very upset and sad about it. So given this illustration, we can guess that this piece might have actually originated from a real event that went down in Schumann's home. According to Eugenie Schumann, who was one of Schumann's daughters, in January of 1848, Schumann fed their pet greenfinch maybe some snacks that it couldn't digest, and so unfortunately the bird ended up passing away. And given that this event happened not too long before this piece was composed, I do believe we have reason to suppose that this piece might have been heavily inspired by this event. Now, obviously, this is a very emotionally vivid recounting of kind of this sensation of loss. And we can break it down a little bit and we can see how exactly Schumann uses kind of musical techniques and whatnot to bring about this feeling of sadness and grief. In the very beginning, when he opens up with the right hand, we actually don't have a left hand accompaniment at all. So the right hand is just off there by itself alone. And obviously, since this piece is in a minor key, it kind of just only serves to enhance that kind of feeling of sadness. And with the right hand that's so lonely, we get this kind of feeling almost of, maybe we could interpret this as the young girl who's crying with sadness. And when the left hand does come in, we have this kind of almost sighing figure. And since the left hand is located in a relatively high register of the piano, it actually, the left hand doesn't really provide a ton of support for the right hand, but instead kind of feels, droopy and listless, and almost a little bit on the weak side. So I think when those elements come together, it kind of enhances the initial feeling of this kind of weepy sadness that's going on here. Now, if we continue on looking, by the time we kind of get to the middle, there's a little bit where Schumann goes into this major key, into C major. But obviously, very quickly, he comes back to the minor key. And so then we can interpret this little bit in major that, maybe it's some sort of recollection or some sort of memory, perhaps of the pet bird. And so, the happier the memories are, the sadder you are when you return to reality, right? So that kind of further enhances the feeling of grief throughout this piece. And lastly, when we get to the end, he adds this really sudden forte, which I think can be interpreted as maybe an outburst of anger. In this scenario of what happened in the event, maybe it's his daughters who are going like, how could you have done this? Like, how could you have fed our bird that stuff? But obviously, being angry doesn't do anything for your situation. So we end up kind of returning to this feeling of pitiful sadness in the end, this feeling of resignation. So obviously this piece isn't long at all, but I think all the emotional twists and turns are very well laid out within the music.